Most of us probably don't like it when people get hurt, but something about violence definitely fascinates all of us. Think about high school, that fight that broke out during lunch and you just had to get on a table to get a good view, or the last time you saw a car crash and you couldn't help but stare out the window to see how bad the accident was, or the last time you paid money to see people fight. It seems like we actually enjoy seeing violence. Let's start with fistfights. In high school, sometimes these fights even got bloody, but in general, I don't recall a lot of concern from other students as much as fascination, myself included.
Andrews says administrators try to break up fights before that can happen. This video shows a principal trying to protect the victim.
24 students reportedly suspended, 10 of which were on the football team. Parents say they want more. At the very least, they want change to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
There isn't a lot of research on fistfights specifically, but according to data from the CDC, at least 425 people were killed by being struck by hands or feet in 2016, and this data only accounts for 32 states in the US. Trauma expert Duncan Bew told BBC that people are very much focused on penetrating injuries, but actually punching somebody in the head can be just as lethal. And a question I can't help but asking myself is if this is part of our nature. According to author John Gottschall, many animals from bears to shrimp have dueling behaviors that seem to mirror human fighting. And a study published in 2013 found that human hands might actually have evolved to make it easier for us to punch. The research indicated that while both slaps and punches produce the same amount of force, the fist allows us to protect our fingers while hitting a smaller surface layer, making it easier for us to inflict more damage on the opponent. But even if the intent isn't necessarily to kill or severely injure, are we crazy for being drawn to violence? Communications and psychology professor Brad Bushman told CNN that violence has been used as entertainment throughout human history. He explained that in ancient Egypt, people would watch others reenact god Osiris's murder. The Gladiator games in Rome were also another example of ancient violent entertainment. And now we have the UFC, for instance. UFC president Dana White explained to CNN, "Everybody loves a fight. It's in our DNA. If you're in an intersection and there's a basketball game in one corner, a soccer game on another, a baseball game on the third, and a fight on the fourth, everybody will watch the fight." And that's not only true, but it's something that cuts across all demographic and geographic barriers. I guess this kind of makes sense. I could go somewhere across the world and not understand a thing about what I'm seeing, but a physical fight is a dynamic that I could easily pick up on and sort of understand with no context, and quite frankly, be very interested in. Professor and author Christian Lange says that violence is a universal language and it universally explores the body. But is violence really a universal language, or have we made it one by normalizing it? In order to get more perspective about how violence relates to human behavior, I reached out to David Rudisill.
The emotion of anger is unquestionably universal. I mean, as mammals, we're all wired to feel angry. It's part of the limbic system. And there's a guy named Ekman who in the 70s went around the whole world to different cultures and he showed them photos to elicit a feeling. And he noticed that the same muscles on the face light up wherever you go in the world. If you go to Japan, you go to New Guinea, you go to Germany, you go to these very different cultures, when someone is purely angry or purely sad, the same muscles on the face light up, but different cultures mask emotion in different ways.
The Washington Post reported that the global market is the engine behind Hollywood's assembly line production of violent action films. And a study published in 2017 found that violence results in increased movie ticket sales, particularly in PG-13 movies. So are we normalizing violence, or is this just a reflection of our human nature? As reported by the American Psychological Association, there is increasing evidence that exposure to violence within the media one consumes in childhood and adolescence can be a contributing factor to developing aggressive habits. And according to Michelle Garrison, young children problematically see good guys use methods of violence as a means of problem solving. For instance, superhero movies, where the good guy can hurt the bad guy without any negative repercussion and not seeing any physical effects of that violence on the bad guy.
You know, anger is a normal emotion, and we have the possibility of even feeling, rage, really high levels of feeling. And I think that many people have a wish to be able to let loose of some of these really powerful feelings, and to see another person up there really letting go, I think fulfills some of the fantasies and wishes that we all carry. And so it's really, you know, when you watch a movie and someone just pummels someone else, or there's like MMA fighting, there's a real fascination, I think, about it.
All in all, this all still leaves me wondering if entertainment is violent because we enjoy violence or the other way around. And more importantly, how is this affecting us now?